Jessica, thank you so much for submitting your work here. I'm looking at your writing, and this is really great. It's fantastic to include this written rationale describing your experience with the assignment. It allows me a really clear insight into what you're learning and how you're approaching the assignment. So this is fantastic. Thank you. Keep this up as we move through the class. Um, let's go ahead and take a look. And I've got the ad up right here and fit in the window. So let's go ahead and take a look. Um, okay, I think it's a really good start. Now, I have a lot that I'm going to throw at you here for a second. So you may have to watch this video twice. And of course, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. All right, so the first thing I want to mention is that the background image itself looks like it could use a little bit of a bump in contrast. As we can see right here, it's just a little bit washed out. I think a higher degree of contrast might be, deepening the tonal variations and the tonal distribution associated with the background image, I think would suffice. I think it would add enough contrast to the image, specifically in the foreground, that would make the image more engaging. The next thing I recommend is the typography itself. Now, you've got Renew and Relax as your headline, and that's great, but I think it's really large, and I think your typography is generally too large. And if you were to print out your page and take a look at it, you would probably agree with me. It's really an interesting thing to do to print out your work because things look considerably different in print than they do on screen. So I always recommend to designers, younger designers and students to print out your work to get a good close look at what it's going to look like. When you do that, you're going to see this type is very large. One caveat is when you do print it out, make sure you're in quick draft and set it to black and white so that you don't use all your color ink. Okay, Renew and Relax, the headline. Okay, it's pretty big, right? I think that also it's got a lot of visual weight to it based on that offset black background. You've also got a stroke on the type too. Now, if you jump over to the course announcements area, you'll see some really good reasoning why you shouldn't add a stroke to your type. Now, you've offset this type, which is much more appropriate than stroking the type, but you have a stroke on here as well. So what I would recommend is that you remove the stroke and see if you can get away with reducing the type size. Well, watch my cursor. Type should be something like this. Headline should be about like that. And then the subhead we'll talk about in 1 second. But right now we've got a little bit of compromise in the hierarchy based on the fact that this body copy text is almost as big as the subhead text. So what you want to do is you want to format your text so the largest text is the headline, then the next largest is the subhead, and then we would go to the body copy. And the smallest text on the page would likely be the address information area. Okay, so you've got your headline. Now your subhead is really long. I mean, I would condense this to 4 or 5 words. So renew and so it could be something like, and I'm just giving you an example. So renew and relax, and then subhead could be all-inclusive spa package upgrade or something like that instead of having this really descriptive subhead. Also, I do not recommend the drop shadow on the type. I don't recommend. I don't think you need it. If you feel that you don't have the visibility based on the background, consider using a different color for that specific subhead. But I think it'll read just fine. You might consider a lighter color purple for that, or even you may even consider that purple right there. That might be your way to go, or even like a dark gray or something like that. I don't want to do black because black will advance too much in the composition. We see right here. So this again, you could change that color to a lighter, a gray color instead of that black. Now, as far as your alignments go, you've got this is basically center. What I would like to do is left align that so it's not spanning the entire ad. So activate some of this negative space up here. And then a left align, so you have Arial bold italic for your subhead. Remove the drop shadow and place that so that it's something like that. And then, so you have left align, then left align subhead, and let's go ahead and left align this body copy. The additional information from the subhead you can include here reduce the size here, watch my cursor, create a body text block, something like this, and then place your informational, promotional information within that area. That brings us down to the bottom. I think this is an interesting configuration with the masked image, the logo. My only issue is that the masked image it's pretty large, so it's pretty weighty, meaning that it's demanding a pretty good portion of a pretty good amount of visual hierarchy. What I would recommend is reducing the size of this. Okay, so you reduce the size of this and just a little bit, not much at all. Take the bar away from the color bar away from the logo, and then just place a logo. Now watch my cursor. So this will be reduced till it takes about a space like this. Then the logo would be something like this. And then without that color background, and then the type right there underneath it, the contact information. Okay, other than that, I mean, it's a good start. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you need any other clarifications at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to provide as such. But thank you very much.